This video is going to show you how you can create a fabulous floral design for Valentine's Day. So welcome back to another one of my tutorials. Today I'm going to create quite a stylized design that will be ideal as a gift for Valentine's Day. You could recreate this in a different colour combination later on in the year for Mother's Day, or you could even give it as a gift for an anniversary or a birthday. Now my mechanics today are the green floral foam, and I know there's many of the subscribers and the viewers that don't like the floral foam, but it is still widely used in floristry. And if you want to see videos where I don't use floral foam, then I'll link a series of videos here where I use a much more sustainable and environmentally friendly option. Now my flower choice today is going to start with the rose and the gerbera, and what I'm going to do is try to create a heart-shaped arrangement with the roses on one side of the design and the gerbera on the opposite side. And what I've already done is I've cut them to a length that I think will help me achieve that heart shape. Now on my table I've created a heart shape with the flowers, and I'm hoping that that little bit of planning and preparation beforehand is going to help me achieve that heart shape. Now I will give it a clean cut on the bottom. Now my foam is wedged into a melamine container. It's a container that's quite versatile and I use it a lot in floral design. And this flower here is the bottom part of my heart before we come up and over to one side. So that's going to be hopefully my lowest flower. I'm just going to check I'm picking up the right flower next. I've got them in a bit of a pattern on the desk in front of me, and I'm going to sit them one on top of the other. Now I have created a similar design to this in the past, but it was a spiral, and I used supermarket flowers to create a spiral design where the flowers were really compacted together, just in a similar sort of style to what I'm doing now. So if you can imagine, this is the lower part of the heart, and then I'm coming up and sweeping down towards the front. And that simple little bit of planning with my roses is hopefully going to help me achieve that heart shape. So I'm going to come up slightly higher here before I come off towards the side. And this is the first time I've done a design like this, so fingers crossed it's going to work out okay. We never know, it might be a complete disaster, but at least you'll have something to laugh at if it all goes completely wrong. Now I'm trying to angle the rose slightly forward so that you really do appreciate this beautiful rose. This is a red Naomi, and this is a rose that I use quite a lot when I want a good quality rose. It's a florist grade rose. It was 60 centimetre when I bought it. I've had it for a couple of days to give the rose a chance to open, and I've removed all of the foliage and the thorns so that I get a much more sort of elegant look to the arrangement. I am going to be adding greenery in at the end, but I don't want to clutter up the arrangement and make it look quite messy. The rose in particular, the rose foliage, can become a little bit dry and unsightly. So I've removed all that so we get that lovely clean line. Now then, let's keep bringing this rose round towards the front. Now I particularly like the red Naomi because of the colouring on it. It's a very dark rose, but it's not everybody's favourite colour. Some florists and some customers that I have prefer a lighter rose or a more tomato red rose, but I absolutely love this one. I haven't removed any of the petals from the rose itself because I do really love the variation in the flower heads. But you will see lots of florists, flower arrangers that will remove the outside petals. I've of course removed the ones with damage on them because we don't want to see anything with a mark or blemish on it. But I've left the guard petals or the outer petals because I really do love that pattern that you get. It really shows off the rose's personality. Right, so that's half of my heart shape done. Now I'm going to attempt to bring a set of gerbera on the opposite side, and I've pretty much done the same thing. I've cut the gerbera to a similar size to the rose, and I'm hoping that that will give me almost like a mirrored image on the opposite side. And I'm going to try to get the Gerbera so that the heads are facing forwards. Again, it's a lovely full round shape, and you're going to get much more impact with the Gerbera facing forward than you are with it facing the ceiling, and you only see half of the colour. God, I've got to really concentrate on this one. It's not the type of arranging that I normally do, so I've got to put all my thoughts and energy into doing it. But it's looking good so far. I'm just going to keep bringing that Gerbera down on the opposite side, and I'm really hoping that because I cut them beforehand, I've got a fairly good shape. Now you might be wondering at the moment, Sharon, how are you going to cover all that floral foam there? You're going to have a lot of foam showing, but I am going to introduce some greenery there into the centre and exaggerate that heart shape by placing some foliage at the back as well. But for a moment, I'm going to concentrate on getting this heart shape is more important at the moment than filling in with the greenery. I'm trying to get the flower heads really close together, and I've done an arrangement similar to this in the past. I will link it in the cards here for you to go back and have a look at it. It was a spiral design. It's one of the most popular videos here on the channel, and that was achieved with supermarket flowers. So if you can't get florist grade flowers like I'm using here today, then this is easily achievable with 2 different colour roses, or you could have all the same colour rose all the way around. Now I think that's a fairly good attempt for my first time. You can always give me some marks in the comment box below. I think I could get 8.5 out of 10 maybe. What I am going to do here is slightly move the red one, because it's such a big head. I don't get that pointed base to the heart. If you think of a heart shape, it's got that very sort of pointed finish to it, and because that shape is quite round, I'm almost losing the base there of the heart. And instead, I'm going to pop in a Gerbera, and that will help carry that colour through to the bottom as well. Yeah, so I think I prefer that. I think I prefer it finishing with a Gerbera at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is go around the outside with some greenery, and I've got a foliage that I don't often use, and the reason for that is because it comes in a mixed bunch from Sri Lanka, and from my local wholesaler I can order a mixed selection of foliage. Comes in a very large bag, and I get all these wonderful varieties of foliage included in the pack. The majority of them I can identify, but I'm always a bit unsure of this foliage here. It's very much like an aspidistra, but it has a much pointier top, and it has this thicker, longer stem in the centre. So this is coming from Sri Lanka, so if you're in a part of the world where this foliage grows, then you can let me know in the description box below the name of the greenery itself, and then for future videos I will know what it's called. Right, so now I'm just going to bring this greenery around the outside. You can see it's a lovely pointed leaf. It's going to exaggerate the shape of the heart and lead your eye down around the back. As I come to the bottom, I can use shorter pieces tucked in underneath those roses there at the base. So on the opposite side, I'm going to introduce what I think is a cordyline leaf. Again, it's from this mixed bunch. This is one I'm more familiar with, although I've named it cordyline. I'm probably going to look very silly if it's not. But I'm going to do the same on the opposite side and bring this around the back of my Gerbera, all the way around to the front, so that we're giving a lovely frame behind those brightly coloured Gerbera. Now, tropical foliage like this lasts exceptionally well. Now, if you can't get hold of greenery like this, then just use items that you can get hold of from your own garden or from your own florist shop. It's often a good idea to buy a house plant similar to this, and you can cut it apart and use it in a design when you need it. Now, when the leaf is quite large like this one, it's going to be too long to fit onto this bottom section. So you can see here I've cut the leaf in half, and I've just removed some of the side foliage so that the midrib is clear, and that can be inserted there into the foam at the base, and I can continue bringing that colour round underneath the Gerbera right round to the front. I think I just need one more, so I'm going to remove the base like so, cut it all the way across, and then cut up through the centre so that you can see part of the stronger midrib there in the centre. So a lovely shape. I'm quite pleased with that. It's definitely a heart shape. Good strong clear outline with leaves at the back. So now I'm going to start by covering in that centre, and I've got another type of cordyline leaf. This time it has the variation of colour running up through the spine. If I just show you those, it's a bit clearer, and that's going to give me a really lovely colour link with the colour of my Gerbera. I'm going to place these right in at the centre so that I'm not covering the heads of the Gerbera, but I am covering the stem. I'm almost fanning them out from the centre to exaggerate that heart shape and not overfill it. We don't want to we don't want to really clutter that centre section. I really need to leave it quite clear. I've done the same method, just cleaned off a little bit of the greenery from the bottom, fan them out and work my way all the way down to the base. A little bit long, I think, that one, so take that a bit shorter. You can do this little method here with any type of greenery, as long as the midrib there goes into the floral foam or to the water, then you know it's going to survive. That gives me that lovely sort of fan shape there in the centre. And on the opposite side, I'm going to go with this much darker cordyline. Start with the taller one towards the top. That's going to snugly fit under the base there, and I'm going to keep working my way round right the way down to the base. You really have to be quite neat and precise with this type of arrangement, because there's no way of hiding any mistakes with lots of greenery or gypsophilia. So you can see there I've fanned them out so that it really helps to exaggerate that heart shape. And to introduce a slightly different colour, pink, burgundy, dark red, I'm going to use the dried oak leaf. Now, I might have used these last year in a couple of designs, but the oak leaf is something that we use a great deal of in the autumn, and as you can see, it dries really well, and I think it's going to work really nicely in this arrangement because it's going to bring in those really hot pink colours. I'm almost just very simply fanning it out from the centre, not overfilling, not making the design too cluttered. And now you'll see that the foam is completely covered there in the centre. I have got a large foam to cover at the back, so that's my next job. I need to make sure that all that is completely covered to stop the water from evaporating. And for that, just to cover the base there, I'm going to use a fairly traditional foliage, which is Portuguese laurel. It has a lovely red stem on it this time of the year. And I want to cut it and tuck it in quite low so that it doesn't interfere with the front of the arrangement. This is just being used to cover that foam. I'm not using it for its aesthetic appearance. It doesn't matter what it looks like because you won't see it from the front. And it doesn't really matter what greenery you use here at the back. Could be ivy leaves, could be more of the cordyline if you had plenty of them. Now, if you haven't seen last year's Valentine's Day arrangement, then I'll link it in the cards here. You can pop back and have a look at that. It's a very different design with a box of chocolates. And if you've got any questions, then please put them in the comment box below. Don't forget, I always list the materials that I use in the description box. And if you've really enjoyed this tutorial, then stick to the end because you will see photographs of the finished piece, close-ups of the individual flowers, and there'll be a link there for you to watch another video. So as ever, thank you very much for watching. Happy Valentine's Day for you all. I hope I've inspired you to create a floral design. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.